Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. So this is the fourth video of my Market Master Indicator series, in which I will add the trend analysis feature. So this is my Word document with the content of this project, and if you remember, in the last part of this project I have added these key market levels. So now it's time to add the trend indicator. So let's get to it. Okay, so this won't be as simple as was the previous part, because trend analysis is very difficult. The reason why is that there's literally hundreds of ways of how to analyze the trend in the current market, but most of those ways just suck. Okay, so that's why I had to think really hard to come up with something that can be used in this indicator. And I think I found such indicator. So since I started with MQL5, I have done maybe hundreds of trend indicators. Therefore, I would say I have a pretty good knowledge about what does work and what doesn't work. And I think the best indicator I ever created regarding the trend indicator is the DTR indicator. So first of all, I will show you how it looks like on a chart. Then I will explain the idea behind this indicator, and then I will add it to my Market Master indicator. So yeah, so you can see that this DTR indicator requires two positional arguments. The first one is length, the second one is coefficient. By default, it's 99 and 1.0. And I think we can work with these initial values for now. So let's click on OK and let's check it. So yeah, so it looks like this. Don't mind the visualization or the background change. So don't mind that. Okay, so let's start with this indicator. So why do I think that this particular trend indicator is one of the best indicators out there? The answer is pretty simple. Basically, it uses price action information when it plots out this trend line. Okay, so most of the trend indicators just use like averages and standard deviations and stuff like this. But this indicator in particular uses the information about highs and lows and basically how frequently does the market make new highs and lows. And it uses this information in its analysis of the trend. So that's why it's so powerful in my opinion. So let's discuss how to read this indicator. It's also very simple. So when the slope of the line doesn't change or it changes very slightly, it basically means that there's a sideways trend. Okay, so for example here you can see that the slope or that the direction of the line basically stays the same. Yeah, and if we like check the market, you can see that it goes sideways. The same thing, for example, here. Yeah, the slope doesn't change that much, and you can see that here is also a sideways trend. And then basically, then when the price starts making new highs or new lows, it picks up and it starts changing the slope. So here you can see that the price went above the previous high, okay, and the line started to pick up. So now it goes nicely with the price, and then when the price stops making new highs or new lows, the slope basically stops changing as well. Okay, so it goes like this once again. So that's basically how I use this indicator. So yeah, so now let's use this indicator, add it to the Market Master indicator, and let's determine the trend based on this. Okay, so this is my MT5 IDE. This is this is my code. So this is what we have so far. So let's continue. First of all, since I have code of this indicator here, okay, so this is the code. I won't be basically recreating this indicator inside the market master indicator. Instead of that, I will use the iCustom function, and through that function, I will use this indicator inside my market master. Okay. So yeah, so let me just do one very simple thing here and we can continue. Okay, so the first thing I will do is that I will create a new group for the new group in settings. So let's create a group that will be called trend analysis settings, something like this. And then if you remember, it needs two positional arguments. So the first argument is input trend analysis length, which is 99, and input double input trend coefficient, which is equal to 1.0. So now, since I will be using the indicator as a resource, I need to specify the resource. So let's go up here and let's define it. So we start with these slashes, yeah. So then indicators. In my case, this indicator is inside the get.whosec software folder, and then it's dtr.ex5. And we don't have any errors, so we can continue. Perfect. So now I will create a handle for this DTR indicator. So DTR handle, and let's go on init function, and let's load the DTR indicator inside the handle. So DTR handle is equal to iCustom current symbol current period. So now it's like this. So let's just copy and paste it here, and now let's give it the input parameters, which will be input trend analysis length and input trend analysis coefficient. Perfect. So now I think it should show the DTR indicator on our chart. So let's open a new chart and let's deploy the market master indicator. And is it plotted out or not? Because now I'm not sure if this is on the thing for, or is it there? Let's try to backtest this. Okay, so obviously, I think I have to get the values for it. I'm not sure. Okay, so let's continue. So now we have the DTR indicator inside this DTR handle. So now what I have to do is that I have to get the actual indicator values and then analyze them somehow and determine the trend based on the values. Okay. So yeah, let's get to it. So for this purpose, I will create a function called analysis trend analysis, and inside this function it will require one positional argument, which will be shift, and inside of this function I will create double array trend values, which will be used for the copy buffer function, which I will call now. So copy buffer function, indicator handle is DTR handle, buffer number is 0, starting position is shift count. Let, let's start with 1. Like, obviously I will need more values to do some analysis with it, but let's just start with 1 just to make sure that everything's correct. And then I will store this into trend values array, and I will comment out the trend values at position 0 just to make sure that it works correctly. And then I will go here and I will call the trend analysis, and the shift will be equal to rates total minus I. So this should be okay. So also one more thing, I will 100, okay. So let's test this out. Oh, and we can see that we already have this comment, which basically means that it's like we succeeded with reading the indicator values and storing them. Okay, so this is it. Just to make sure that we have the right value, we can open USDN 1 hour time frame, and I can add the DTR indicator to this and check the actual value of the indicator. So let's just open data window here, and at this point, like, it should be right here, I guess, because there will be shift of 1. So it's 1.154930 1949. 949. Yeah, you can see like in the data window, it's on the left. Yeah, you can see 1.4949, which is exactly this value. So success, perfect. Okay, so now the question is how to analyze these values in order to determine the trend. So the way, like, if you think about it, it's pretty simple. We just have to find out whether the values are more or less stationary or not. So if the values are the same, it's a sideways trend. If they move, it's either uptrend or downtrend. So it's pretty simple. Yeah, so now the question is how many trend values we will use in order to calculate the trend. Okay, so we can analyze, for example, the last, I don't know, 40 bars, or we can go and we can analyze the last 100 bars. Okay, so it's like long-term trend and short-term trend. So with lower analysis candlesticks, let's say, we get more short-term trend, and with more candlesticks to analyze, we get long-term trend. So let's add this option here. So input integer, so input trend analysis candles. Let's do 100. Let's just not confuse the input trend analysis candles and length, because yeah, it might seem as the same thing, but it's not. So let me just rename this to analysis trend indicator length. Okay, so this might be a better name for this variable, so just so we don't get confused. Okay, so now what we have to do is that we have to get this number of indicator values, right? So let's go here. So let's do shift minus input trend analysis candles, and here input trend analysis candles, and it should still like show almost the same value, but now what we also have to do is that we have to erase it as series. So we basically revert the indexing of the array. So now if I compile this, it should show us the same value as it did before. And Does it show the same value? I think it does not. So this is 1.4, 925. So this is 925. Okay, so we have to also do this thing right here, and now it should work correctly. So now the previous value is 949. This is, I think it didn't update. Okay, 925, still 925. Plus 1, maybe. Okay, we will leave it like this, like it doesn't matter, I guess. Okay, so let's continue. So this is great. So what I will do now is that I will include the statistics library, okay, because I will be doing some computing, let's say, and therefore I will need to include the not trait math stat normal.mqh library. Okay, so I think the simplest way to do this is to calculate, how is it called in statistics? Variance or coefficient of variance, something like this. It like coefficient of variance, and correct me in the comments if I am not right, or if it's something else, but it should the value ranges from 0 to 1, and as the value is higher, it basically means that there's higher standard deviation in the relation to the average value. So I don't know if I explained this well, but basically the formula looks like this. It's standard deviation divided by its average value times 100. Okay, so it basically scales the standard deviation between 0 and 1, or 0 and 1, yeah, and then we can use this information to say how much do the values deviate from the average. Because if you remember what I said about this indicator, when the data or when the indicator values are more stationary, it means that there's a sideways trend. And what does stationary mean? It means that the standard deviation is very, very low. Yeah, because it doesn't, you have your average value, and those other data points are very, very close to that average value. So that's what I will do here. Okay, so I hope you understood at least something from what I explained, because I have a feeling like my explanation is just the worst, but let's go. So double average value is equal to math mean of the trend values. Now standard deviation is equal to math standard deviation of the trend values. And now let's just call this CV, so, or CV, which is coefficient of variance, which is based on the formula I typed here. So it's standard deviation divided by mean. And let's comment out the CV, for example, here instead of the trend value. So let's hope average value. Let's just hope everything goes okay. Yeah, so now what it tells us, I think there should be that times 100 here, but I'm not sure entirely. So now if I check the chart again, yeah, so here you can see 0.4. So 0.4 means that basically, like, if we interpret the value, often anything above 0.2 or 0.25 is interpreted as pretty volatile. Okay, so now there is a movement which is correct. So let's do this. Let's use this information to decide about the trend. Okay, so I hope it's not getting too complicated or too hectic. I hope everything's understandable. So yeah, so now let's discuss how I will determine the trend. The first thing I can do is that I can just like plot a line on the chart and just change the color of the line based on the trend, but it's not something that I like to use. If you have seen the second video of this series, where I basically prepared the environment for this project, you would remember that we have color candlesticks inside of this code here. Okay, so I added one plot, which is color candles, which means basically that I can change the color of the candlesticks. And that's exactly what I will use to determine the trend. So the color of the candlestick will change based on the trend. Okay, so let's start. So first of all, we have to determine basically what's the threshold for the sideways trend. So as I said before, the CV value will range from 0.1, and like we have to say if the CV value is larger than some value. Okay, so let's say 0.2, it means that there's a trend, and if the CV value is below 0.2, it means that it goes sideways. So let's define it here. So input double input trend threshold. I think this is correct, or it's threshold. Let me just time this. Okay, just TH. Okay, so this is correct. TH. Perfect. So yeah, so now what we will do is that we will create global variable static integer trend, which will equal to 0. And here inside this trend analysis function, I will give this trend value, this trend variable a value based on the trend. So we can say, so trend is equal to, so if CV is below the input trend threshold, then the value will be 0. So 0 will be for a sideways trend. If this is not the case, then we know that there's a trend, but we also have to determine which trend, so upside or downside. So how to do this? I think we can just like analyze the most recent trend value and the last trend value to see which one is larger or higher or lower, and based on that we can determine the trend. So if this is not the case, then we will check. So if trend values at position 0 is above trend values at position, which will be equal to input trend analysis candles minus 1, meaning that the price went higher, we will assign it value of 1, otherwise value of -1. So this is uptrend, this is downtrend. And I think it's okay like this. So let's just delete this. Okay, so now I will go here, where we basically set the color for the candlesticks. Okay, so this line of code is responsible for choosing the right color. I will comment this out and I will do a new line. So candles colors at position I. So if trend is equal to 0, then we will use a sideways color. Okay. If this is not the case and trend is equal to 1, then we will use an uptrend color. And if this is not the case, we will use downtrend color. So now the only thing I have to do is that I have to basically I have to choose these colors, because if you remember, I chose these colors for the chart visualization. And I need to change this. So I will comment this out. I won't delete it in case I don't like my new visualization style, and I would want like the old colors or the old scheme back. So let's just do simple. So the first color will be for the sideways trend, which will be color gray. So the second color will be equal to uptrend, which will be color spring green, and the third color will be color maroon, which will be for the downtrend. So let's just update this here. So sideways is 0, uptrend is 1, downtrend is 2. Perfect. What happened? Yeah, and close this. And now it looks like this. Perfect. First try. So let's check if this is precise. Like, I would say that this is pretty precise. Like, just from checking the chart, I think it does a really good job at basically deciding when there's a sideways trend and when there's not sideways trend. Of course, it's not 100% correct, for example, in this case, or in this case, yeah, but I think this is okay. So let me just change the input threshold to something like 0.1. So when I decrease the threshold, it should give me, yeah, and let's just do one thing here. It doesn't go back, so let's change this to this. Yeah, so now this is okay, and let me just change one thing here. Come on. Sorry, 100, and this is 1. Perfect. So now we only see the trend. What do you think about this? I think this is pretty nice. Yeah, because now it basically shows us. Yeah, so this is pretty nice. Of course, I can play with these trend indicator length values and trend coefficient values and trend analysis candles and stuff like this. So for example, if I want to only analyze more recent trend, I can do value of 25, and if I only want like very volatile values, I can do like 0.4 here, and you can see that now this wasn't a great idea, obviously. Yeah, sorry, 25 here, 100 here. Let's do something like this. And now it just shows me basically, yeah, it shows me only very volatile markets or market phases, let's say. But something here doesn't seem right, because for example, in this case, this is a downtrend, this is an uptrend basically, not a downtrend. So what I also have to work on is basically the trend classification, like not, if I show you this inside the code, I have to work on this part right here to change basically, yeah, to check, or this part where it basically checks whether the value went up or down. So I have to update this because this is not correct and I don't want to see this. So let me just reset this to the most recent, to the initial values, and let's click on OK. So yeah, so yeah. Let me just try. Okay. Okay. I'm just curious about like what's the best setting here, because this might also be like an uptrend. So let's just do something like, I don't know, 500 here and 0.1. Yeah, so now like I can choose settings that won't be as as, I don't know, like what's the word I am trying to think of, won't be as sensitive, okay? And now it basically shows you the trend for every candlestick basically. It's not very precise, but it's something, yeah. So if I change this to 0.2, it's still, yeah. So like there's a lot of ways of how to determine the trend with this indicator, but this is nice. Okay, so let me just work on this part right here. So we have to make sure that we basically get the how to do this. How to do this? Well, instead of I think I will keep this for now. Like if I think of another better way, I will update the indicator, that's for sure. But for now, I think this is okay. Okay, so this is okay. And yeah, it looks nice. It looks really, really nice. There's one more thing I wanted to add, but let me just check. The 31 minutes. I think I will add it in the next video. So I will like upgrade this concept even more to catch really strong trends, okay? Or do you know what? Or no, I will leave it for the future video. I have to think about it as well for a bit. Okay, so this is all for this video. I think this is super successful video because yeah, everything on the first try, which is not very common with me. Yeah, so I am really happy about how this went. Anyway, thank you for your attention and your time, and see you in the next part. Bye.